Hi everyone, it's Mrs. Mistry. Welcome to my third skills building video, and today's video is all about three-dimensional letters. It's one of those basic skills that a lot of my students have always struggled with but always want to do quite well. It takes a lot of practice, so I'm going to show you the basic construction and then shading to make it look effective. If you are not confident in freehanding your letters like I have done, in the description I have included a free printable template that you can download. Otherwise, just make your own off Word, and then you can trace the letters through. So grab a pencil and a piece of paper and let's get started. So on some scrap paper, I'm just going to briefly run through how to draw a cube. You're going to start off with a square. You can use a ruler for this, but I just want to show you quickly how the most common mistakes that people make when they're drawing a cube. Now, a cube is made up of 6 squares, but when you're drawing a cube, you're only going to see 3. You're going to see the front, which you're looking at, the top, and one of the sides. Okay, so a square is made up of 4 lines, and the lines that are opposite each other are parallel. So this line is parallel to this line, and these 2 lines are parallel to each other. So those lines going up will never meet, and those lines going across will also never meet. Now, a cube is made up of lots of lines that are parallel to each other. So if this is our front, then our top and our side are the ones that we need to work on next. And so we're going to choose the 3 points that we're going to make 3D. So I'm just going to label it so it's easy for you. We've got point A, point B, and point C, and each of these lines are parallel to each other. So when you're drawing them, they are roughly at about 45-degree angle up from the corner. And I would always recommend that you draw all 3 of those lines first and make sure that they are parallel by moving your ruler nice and evenly at the same distance and the same speed across before it hits that point to get to that one, and then again down to hit that one. So those 3 lines are all parallel to each other. And the next line you're going to draw is the one that finishes the top. Now that line is parallel to this top line here. So again, using your ruler, ease it up until it feels comfortable and right. So that line is now the top, and the same with the line that goes there. Obviously, if you'd have done this in pencil, you'd be able to rub out that extra line that I've ended up drawing there. So that's essentially how you would draw a cube. So a nice, simple square with 3 lines going parallel up from 3 different corners. A straight line that's parallel to this one. A straight top line that's parallel to that one. Okay, you can rub out any extra lines that you don't need. Once you've got that, then it's quite easy to see that that's 3D and how that's going to then reflect into your letters. So I'm going to show you that bit next. So I'm going to run through 3 different letters first, so you get an idea of how to do them. The first letter I'm going to start with is a very simple letter T. So you need to start off with, if you're not confident drawing out letters like this, you can print some out to practice with and trace them through. So you've got a T, and then you're going to choose your 3 main points. So I'm going with that one, so, and that one. So these 3, and I'm going to start with those to make them parallel. Moving my ruler across, moving my ruler down, and then lining up my ruler with my top line and moving it up. and then lining my ruler up with this side here, moving it across. Now a see-through ruler is really handy for this. If you don't have a see-through ruler, it still works out. It's not too much of an issue. So we've done this top part of the letter, but there's also this bottom part of the letter. Now because we chose this point, and this point, we need to stick to points on this side, so it means that we're going to go with this one down here at the bottom. And remember, any lines that come off your corners are parallel, so if it's parallel to this line here, I'm just going to line my ruler up, I'm going to move it slowly down evenly and draw a line that goes up, and then the line that's that one is parallel to there like that. So that's your 3DT. Let's try a letter with a hole in it. Again, we're going with these 3 points, this one, and this one. And I start up here with a parallel line that's about 45-degree angle, moving it across to this next point, moving it down, and then lining my ruler up with this straight edge here, keeping it even. Lining my ruler up with this edge here. And here, don't be tempted to move your ruler like that just because that line is a little bit extended. Keep your ruler parallel to that line of the A, and as soon as it hits that corner, like that, draw that line in so you know that it's, I mean, you can measure them if you want to, like an equal distance away from each other. And you can rub that little bit out there at the bottom. Now, similar to the T, we have these bottom shapes as well that need looking out for. So again, we've chosen points on this right hand side. So we're going to go with this point as well. And again, it is parallel. And line up the line of the A to where you think it should fit like that. And then when you've got a window in a letter, so for example an A, an R, a B, a Q, those letters you need to really think about the inside bits as well. And this time, instead of using the outside point, we're using the inside point of the letter to make it look like there's a hole. So again, whichever one of your points, it doesn't matter. Line up your ruler, move it down so it fits inside like that. And do the inside line parallel to that one, and the bottom one which is parallel to the bottom inside as well, like that. I'm also now going to show you how to do some of the curved letters. So for example, an S, which is probably one of the most complex letters to draw in the alphabet. Now, I'd start with this kind of shape, with a straight edge, and then I'm following the same. So an S is that kind of shape. Now there are some, I've included a link to a letter template that you can print out, otherwise you can just go on Word and print out some letters that you can then trace through to make it easier for you. So when it comes to having a curved shape, you need to think about how that would look if it was 3D. Now you are lucky with some of these So with the S, it has got a point here that you can work with to put up at a 45-degree angle, and same with this one and this one, and then this line is parallel to this one. But the curves, what's really interesting is where it moves round is where you need to extend from and bring to your parallel line that you've drawn here. Follow the same shape. Imagine that there's a 45-degree angle coming up from this point. Like that. Could do a little bit of a tweak. And there's a lot of practice involved in getting these perfect and getting these right. So if you're going to go with a name and you want to do letters next to each other, then what you should do is make some markers. So I'm doing markers at 5 centimeters off the bottom of my page and line them up. So I've got a straight line to make sure all my letters sit nicely onto. Now I have included a link to a printable letter template if you're not confident in drawing your letters. And this was just made on like a Word document, and just change the letters to outline. But what you can do then is you can then trace the letters that you want. Which is especially good for tricky letters like R's and S's. Leave a nice kind of 0.5 centimetre to 1 centimetre gap in between letters. So you could do it that way, and then put your parallel lines in, going up. And you'd continue to do that all the way across, and then start shading it in. Or if you feel confident enough to just go in freehand, I'm just going to make another line. So if you feel confident enough to go freehand, what I would suggest that you do is just make a little guide so you keep your letters the same height. So when it comes to shading letters, you need to think about 3 different shades, a dark, a medium and a light. You need to think about the direction of the light that is hitting your cube. So for example, if the light is hitting kind of the top direction, then you'd have this side being dark, the top being quite light, and the front being like a medium shade. The same goes with letters, and you can do this, then it will make your letters look more effective. So if you wanted to choose coloured pencils, again, you could use a dark blue, a medium blue and a light blue, or a dark blue, medium blue, and leave one area white. I'm just going to leave that one white. So what's important is if you're doing several letters, you always choose the same side to be the same colour. So if it's always that right face, then all of the right faces in your letters need to be darker, and all of the front faces need to be medium, or whichever way around you choose to do it. So remembering that you need to have 3 areas of colour, dark, medium and light. I'm starting with the dark areas, and they are going to be on the right hand side of my letters. So I'm going to just start shading in all the right hand sides to make them the darkest. So when it comes to letters like the R and the S that are on the right hand side, so they need to be darker, but also curve round to the top, which needs to be light. This is where you need to do some gradient shading. So I would start off with the darkest part, which is going to be the bit that's furthest away, and just ease the pressure of your pencil so it becomes lighter as it hits the top. Same with the R. So I hope that was useful. I hope you managed to see that I went over the lines again after I'd drawn them out roughly, so I could rub out the guidelines underneath. I've shaded in the darkest areas first and kind of worked with my shading that way. You can use a range of different pencils. You could use coloured pencils. You could use different fonts. You could try different types of lettering. You could even use fine liners to add patterns and things to your letters. So once you learn how to do these kinds of letters and do them effectively and do them properly, then you can use this to decorate birthday cards or signs for your room, posters, those kinds of things. So learning these skills, this basic skill, will really help you with all aspects of different kinds of design and things like that, and just makes your work stand out a little bit more. Please do send me your drawings. Use the hashtag #MrsMistryMake. Send them to me on Instagram and Facebook, and tune in for next week's video. Bye guys.